Thanks for making it, by the way. Brian, I got the Tetris theme stuck in my head, you know? Like do 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 do. Just last couple days, it won't stop. All right. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Filipski, if you can leave the room.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Councilmember Barbara Bukowski. Present. Councilmember Diane Benchkowski. Absent. Councilmember Anthony Filipski.
Here.
Councilmember Michael Jazinski. Absent. Councilmember Brian Pilarski.
Present.
Councilmember Vernon Thompson.
Here.
Supervisor Brian Nowak.
Present.
Have a quorum with 5. We're going to move on to our resolution items, which includes Resolution 2025-556 that is sponsored by Council Members Thompson, Filipski, Kowski. Just the 3 today. Patrick Gilmartin of Cheektowaga, New York, being hereby is appointed to the Board of Ethics of the Town of Cheektowaga, effective immediately and terminating on August 1st, 2030.
On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries.
Resolution 2025-563, sponsored by Supervisor Nowak, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski, the contract for equipment and operators drainage improvements to Ivanhoe, Marne, Preston, Rowan, and Carroll in the town of Cheektowaga for the period of August 18th, 2025 to June 30th, 2026, be awarded to CMH Company for the total bid price of $1,005,040 for bid items 1 through 31 for the contract period of August 18th, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The paperwork for work performed under this contract is to be covered by the Water Quality Improvement Grant that the town is under contract for with New York State, and as such, this contract will be chargeable to an account created by the Director of Finance.
On the question, anything from council members? Just briefly on this one, we have money in the form of $1 million coming to us as a grant to support the cost of this work. It does not require a match to get that $1 million. And this awarded bid would allow us to get to work on these sewers and deal with this work. Anything else from council members?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we know who put this out to bid?
You know who put this out to bid?
And
Pat Bowen, would you like to speak on that?
It was the engineering department that put that out.
okay, and curious as to what prompted this to be put out to bid now when it's August and there were directives to get any and all work completed in the beginning of the year.
Because there was resistance by the board early in the year to hire a public works contractor to do the work.
I'm sorry, I couldn't catch that last part.
There's been resistance by the board earlier in the year to hire a public works contractor to do this work.
So at one point throughout the course of this year, were you directed to do projects for what we had funding for?
Yes,
And this project falls in that category, is that correct?
correct.
So may I ask why we wouldn't have put this out to bid earlier in the year? Given that was the understanding.
Because generally speaking, usually we do one public works contract that covers all the public works contracts that we plan on doing during the course of a year. And through the course of the earlier this year, we've been directed now to do separate bids for each project, and that's kind of how we got to where we are today.
So what prompted us to get to this point today? Because if we had same directives earlier in the year, why now on August 15th, we say, okay, now's the time to do this, when this work, in my opinion, unless somebody else can speak to it, will not be done by the end of the year?
This work will most likely be done in early 2026.
That doesn't answer my question. What prompted this to now become a primary focus in August when this has been discussed the entire year is my question.
Mark Crystal would be in a better position to answer that question, and unfortunately, he's not here today.
Can I just chime in a little bit on this?
Sure.
Not knowing all the answers, I just know what goes on up here. I mean, so far we've had reasons why we're not moving forward with capital projects because there's no money. We then decided not to extend the contract for CMH because it wasn't bid out at the moment. So we just decided not to extend it, which was an option. We then decided to rebid it. Last week, or at the beginning of this week, we had an opportunity to also pass it, and then it was shot down because of one council member, because it was a late file. So there's many reasons why this can was kicked down the road. Now, the reason why we're here is partially to blame on the lack of following directives from the council members. All right, we see that via email, it was shown to us, we could address that, but part of it is our fault up here as a board, as a whole, and I'll throw us all in that mix, even though most of the time it's the two members that aren't here right now, coincidentally, that some of this stuff is getting kicked down the road here. I agree, it is late August, this is summer work, and we are just putting out work orders for summer work. It is ridiculous. This is now year 2 of some of this. This is actually the worst of it all right now, and it just keeps getting kicked down the road. Political games are being played. Now, I think we should address, and we need to address, you know, some of the issues on why it wasn't promptly addressed back when it was brought up to say, hey, move forward with these certain projects. But the way engineering does their bidding and that, they may package everything together. I don't have that answer. Like Pat said, we should talk to Mark Crystal on that a little more and sit down with him and Pat Bowen. But a lot of this is because of the political BS played up here by this board.
I can appreciate that, but you know, I'm not out for reelection. This is no political.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you, no, listen, it's clear as day who wants to get this work done.
Yeah.
They're here today.
I've been very clear on
Correct.
this
I'm
for
not
a long
pointing
time.
fingers at a single person up here.
And it's just very frustrating that, you know, all right, we've always done it this way. This is how we package things together. You know, in March when their contract expired, everybody knew that, you know, and the highway superintendent's here too. He could have said, hey, let's get this out to bid. I don't know what, and I'm sure at some point you'll get a chance to speak, but we should be pushing to get this work done. You know, why is it? Yeah, it falls on all of us up here. That's where the buck stops. But, you know, this has been back and forth, and I don't think we could have been more clear to get this done. And here we are now in August, and yes, in previous bid packages, this work was included. Why wasn't that work completed when they had the contracts? Because they know they're getting the contract the next year, that they can drag it on? I don't know that answer, but it just feels odd to me that we have so many of these projects reoccurring, and they were all in previous years' bid contracts. So it's just like, you just stretch it out longer and longer because you're guaranteeing yourself work. You know, that's the way I see it.
They don't bid on the time frame of it all. So they're not saying, hey, we're bidding on work from January 1 to December 31. They're bidding on the actual project. And that could be January 1 to December 31, or it could be January 1 to March, you know, the next one, you know, like that. So they're bidding on projects, not time frames. So they're not securing work. They're just securing jobs. But
the pattern.
No. And I get it, but also playing devil's advocate, looking at the other side of it, though, how many times does Mark Crystal or Rick Rosuniak, our highway superintendent, come up here for projects or jobs or anything, and then they're beaten up, torn down, hey, we don't have the money, we want to pay cash only, we're not bonding, we're doing this, we're not doing that. They as well want to get the work done.
But in the beginning of this year, we said, we have funds, these are the funds we're allocating towards this work, use it, get it done. Because
Correct, money on
now
hand.
we're going into next year where we're gonna, starting our budget process, say these are the capital projects we're doing for next year, but now we're still behind because we're still trying to rush these projects in a 2-month period. So it's certainly a domino effect, but
Yeah, funding wise, the money's there based off of this year's budget and everything we've done, between bonding and all that. And then when we start looking at next year's budget, we got to decide what projects, how much we're looking to do and all that. And yes, it's the work that's behind. There's no doubt in that. And I think we should address the issues of timeliness from the department on why and hear the reasons why. But at the same time, like I said, every time they come up here with a project, there's a couple people here who naysay it all or beat them up and take them down and says, we shouldn't be doing this, we should be doing this, pretty much telling them how to do their job better, on what projects should take priority. This is taking way too long, and I agree with you. I mean, it's these residents over on Pleasant, God bless them, if we didn't have this meeting today, that project's not getting done at all before the summer's done.
yeah, I mean, I hope that's the case, that it can get done before then. And, I'm told that there are highway employees that can do this job. I don't know if that's something you can speak to, Rick. I've been told that
Rick,
many
if you can approach-
times that it's gonna conflict with our union contracts. And I know you said you've had talks with the union,
That's
but
nothing to do with Pleasant's job. This is a standard procedure been doing for 20 years, how this
no,
works, right?
I refuse to hear that term. This is the way we've always done it, or we've been
No.
doing it for 20 years. That's the wrong answer.
Would you like me to lie? I'm
I'm
telling
just
you
saying
the
that's,
truth
that's
here.
not
This-
how things
this-
should be done.
No. I talked to the union about the crack seal and the micropave. That's the one was discussed in that last meeting. Nothing to do with this job, okay? Sewer is not my project. We assist, we help out when we can. That's run by engineering. That's a totally different animal for me. I handle storm sewer, not sanitary sewer. This is sanitary stuff on this other project. That's their project. Mine is storm and road, DIs, whatever we can handle throughout the year. We've got crews running year-round doing these projects, and it keeps them very busy. So when we go to do a major road project like this, I would have to stop all other projects, lawn cutting, DI cleaning, road sweeping, to pull enough people to be able to do a job like that. We don't have the manpower. And if you wanted me to hire 15 more people to be able to complete a job like that, which what it would take, and buy another $1.5 million worth of equipment, we could do that. Now, what do you want me to do with these people come wintertime? I don't have enough work for them. We got X amount of plow districts, and that's what we take care of. That's our main objective, is to keep these roads safe in the wintertime. I would love to say, if you guys gave me 15 extra people and the equipment, I'll go out and get that road done.
So may I ask you a question? Pleasant Parkway has been in disarray for quite some time, and last year we did ask you, when we had conversations about, road paving and milling and prioritizing the worst roads, and we asked you for a list of the 15 or 20 worst roads in the town to get done. And I don't recall receiving that list. And my guess is we probably should have prioritized this. I mean, I may be ignorant to this. I did not know there were cones and actually pylons sitting in the middle of this road. Why is that not something that we would have addressed instead of just waiting for a project?
It's throwing money away by doing any.
But it's unsafe.
That's
It's
why the road
all
cones,
year.
the road cones and plates, that's what plates are for, to cover a obstruction.
It's like Mario Kart. How do you expect somebody to drive down that road?
The
It's not safe.
job is on the books to get done. We don't go in there and tear it up and start paving. No, this has been going on for a year. This has been kicked down the road by you guys.
This was approved to do the work that was funded.
And you kicked it down the road.
It was
There was
approved.
always a problem. There's always something little that came up where they postponed everything on these projects.
But how come it wasn't put out to bid in the beginning of the year?
We tried. We tried to get this going, but everything, our departments, everybody that works together on this. It's like I'm sitting here without an engineer. You want me to go out on a project like that? I run it. I'm not an engineer. I manage the highway department, and that's a project in itself. I'm not the guy out there setting grade, making sure the DIs are in the right place, everything's set up, traffic controls there. That's why we have a team of people to do this work,
But
okay?
nothing's been done since March,
Yeah,
February.
because you guys put the handcuffs on us in the spring.
Who? We said
Go
we
back
have the
and look,
money, put,
go back and look at the meetings and see where all this went. I'll sit through the meetings with you.
I've been here.
Yeah.
We've been saying
Yeah.
the same thing,
Huh?
month
That's where
after
I'm at.
month. And
All
here
right,
we are.
guys.
We're ready to go,
is-
but we want to get
Rick?
this work done. I want to take care of the public.
Or this
Yeah,
gets
Councilman Flipsky.
more out of hand. You weren't at a lot of the meetings, or you weren't at any of them because it was engineering. The meetings that I was at, starting in January.
The ones over at Alexander?
Oh, we had meetings here
Okay.
and stuff that
Those were sewer projects.
yeah. So
I'm not
that's what I'm
involved.
saying. You weren't involved, but a lot of this did come up with people from engineering, and it's the emails from January, February, March, and I'm not blaming you because it's not you.
And a lot of that
But-
was, we didn't extend it was so
But-
simple to extend the
Rick,
contract and get this
Rick, I
done.
understand that, but I remember going to a meeting with these guys from engineering and everybody else, and they're talking in March, they're talking about the same thing. And I said, what are you guys doing? This should not be a surprise to you. This is what we told you. And they still didn't do it. And then going back, I get emails saying I have to give people the scope of work, the engineers. I'm not an engineer. I don't know what the scope of work is. And I continually got those emails until Mr. Bowen finally stepped in after like the fourth or fifth time and said, we take care of that.
I mean, you look at.
So there's a lot of blame to go around on everybody.
There is, so let's just.
That's why the supervisor has the idea.
Job done now. Let's
Right.
go forward from today on and just get this work over with.
I
That's
agree.
what we
I
gotta
agree
do,
with you.
You know?
I
I
don't
agree
want to
with
have
you.
this,
Guys,
Yeah, I don't
Mr.
want to get into
Rick,
a match with you
Rick,
guys, you know?
Rick, Mr. Flipsky has the floor, one at a time.
Just let me finish up just real quick. And that's why I agree with the supervisor. We sit down in September, end of September, beginning of October, whatever it is early, and let's all get on the same page and get organized, and let's stop pointing fingers at each other because we're doing a huge disservice to the people we're supposed to be serving. Let's get on the same page. Let's stop worrying about who's in the majority and who's voting for who, whatever. We need to get the work done and we need to be on the same page and we need to stop playing games. And I'm not saying you are, but there's certain people that have a lot of control in this town and a lot of power over a lot of this stuff that make the decisions that I've caught in lies. And I don't appreciate that. You want to tell me, I don't know all of this stuff. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a highway guy. I'm not a construction guy. I could barely change a light bulb. I am not handy at all. Tell me what's going on. There's a fix for everything. We will get through everything. But let's stop with this. And again, you just happen to be at the podium all the time. I'm sorry. But let's.
I'm here to get a job done and I want to. I want the politics out of it. I'm bipartisan. I look down the middle of the road. I'm taking care of Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, independents. I don't care. I'm out there to fix what we got to fix. I just need the funding to make it happen and the go ahead. Hey, here, Rick, here's the money. Let's go. And it's, I was brought in here because I know what I'm doing. This is why I took this job on. To make decisions, someone come to say, hey, why are you doing that street? Well, why are you doing this street? Because we picked these streets because it's the reason, it's the best choice right now. This is why we do this. This needs the most help. This is why we do this. We got to bounce around a little bit. There's a lot on the wish list we'd like to do, but we can't. But we do the best we can with what we have. And if you let me do that, I can make this work.
Else from any other council members? Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
All right. Seeing here no comments, all in favor of the item?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2025-564, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski, that the contract for the furnishing of equipment and operators for sanitary sewer repairs in the town of Cheektowaga for the period of August 18th, 2025 to December 31st, 2026 be awarded to CMH Company for the total bid price of $276,500 $276,560 for bid items 1 through 31 for the contract period August 18th, 2025 to December 31st, 2026.
On the question, we have a growing list of sanitary sewer repairs that we have to take care of, and awarding this bid would allow us to do just that. Any comments, questions from council members?
Said my piece.
Councilman, anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2025-565, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. The contract for the furnishing of equipment and operators for storm sewer repairs in the town of Cheektowaga for the period of August 18th, 2025 to December 31st, 2026 be awarded to CMH Company for the total bid price of $28,492 for bid items 1 through 31 for the contract period of August 18th, 2025 to December 31st, 2026.
On the question, with this item, I have an opportunity to speak with a few council members coming up to Tuesday's meeting. I will say, in the event this is awarded, it would allow us to take care of storm sewers in a few different areas. There's one in Dote, there's one at Starlight and Wojcik, and the third in the Dick Urban neighborhood, that this contract would allow us to take care of issues over there. We also know we have an issue on Beale. We don't have a resolution up for that one today. So if this is awarded, know that it will go towards projects like the three I just mentioned, and it will not be utilized to deal with Beale. Beale would be a separate discussion this board would have. Any questions, comments from council members? Councilman Filipski.
This one, especially Starlight and Wojcik, was what kind of started all of this stuff here, because they were ready to go, our people, and all of a sudden, nobody's trained. And we don't have people capable of doing it. This is what I was told, which is a bunch of crap, to put it bluntly. We do have the people to do this stuff. I've been told by several people from Highway, texted, people I've seen out, not just one or two. Usually one or two employees say something, it's like, when you get 6, 7, 8 that say they can do this work, I'm voting no on this, just so you know, because I think our people should be doing this work. And at Starlight and Wojcik turned into a political football to make people look bad when it should have been done and over with, just like Meadow Lawn and Homeworth. And what I don't expect after this meeting is in the next week or two to get bombarded with emails about how there's 1 million sinkholes in town and every pipe is broke. And mysteriously, all of a sudden, the whole town is sinking and we need $10 million right now. Because that's how all this has been boiling. And I've had enough. So I'm a no on this. So our people should be doing it.
Any other comments from council members? Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote?
Roll call vote on 2025-560. Councilmember Bukowski. Councilmember Filipski.
No.
Councilmember Pilarski.
Yes.
Councilmember Thompson.
No.
Supervisor Noack.
Yes.
Not approved. We'll move on to Resolution 2025-566, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. Contract for furnishing of equipment and operators for concrete restoration in the town of Cheektowaga for the period of August 18th, 2025 to December 31st, 2026 be awarded to CMH Company for the total bid price of $43,760 for bid items 1 through 31 for the contract period of August 18th, 2025 to December 31st, 2026.
Question? Just on this one, there were 3 different bidders, and the bidder that's being awarded was the lowest of the 3. If awarded, this concrete restoration bid would allow us to take care of any concrete related work that we're doing on our streets this year or associated with our sanitary sewers. Any other comments from council members? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
Resolution 2025-567, sponsored by Supervisor Noack, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. The contract for equipment and operators for full-depth road reconstruction of Pleasant Parkway in the town of Cheektowaga for the period of August 18th, 2025 to November 21st, 2025 be awarded to CMH Company. Total bid price of $749,256 for bid items 1 through 19 for the contract period August 18th, 2025 to November 21st, 2025.
Right, on the question? Yeah, Councilman Flipsky.
I'm in favor of this. I'm going to vote yes, but I just have a couple questions about equipment wise. I noticed there's a sewer camera that we pay for. We have one. 3 backhoes, a bulldozer. We have those. And I'm unfamiliar, so maybe I'm out of line with this one. But a job superintendent from the company that we pay. To me, it seems kind of, I mean, maybe you probably know, is that a usual?
Councilman, can I speak to the superintendent piece of this? I
Yeah.
don't know the answer to that right this moment, but I can say this is the design build method that we do, combining our town employees with outside contractors. Our employees are overseen by our working crew chiefs, and there's a union aspect to that where they have supervisors under the CBA that if we gave a supervisor from the outside, that's going to be a CBA issue.
Right.
I believe it's the same case here. CMH, they're not an open shop. They are union workers. So their supervisors probably are dictated within that CBA as well. We were talking about this right before.
Okay. All right.
That's my belief on that. On the camera, I know we had issues with the camera line in the past. I'm pretty sure we purchased what we needed to replace that. But that might be some of the things associated with the camera. As far as the equipment, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend I'm a master on our backhoes and all that to answer your questions.
I'm just curious because looking through the inventory list,
Right.
it seems like we have that
Exactly.
that we're paying for. That's where a lot of these questions just come in. Can we cut a little bit? You know, every little bit helps. I realize the town has to keep moving. The town doesn't stop you, and money makes everything go round. You know, you're an idiot if you think, oh, we're going to raise taxes 0% and everything's going to be rosy. That's just not how the world works.
So we've talked about this stuff on and off all year long, and I know you got good faith questions on this stuff, and the same thing here today. So
I appreciate that.
Rick, did you want to speak to the councilman's concerns on equipment specifically?
Just, Tony, I know your concerns on equipment wise, what's out there. Now we look at the work share agreement we have with our local towns. So all of us are doing the same projects all at the same time. So I can't, like, this whole thing, the share program was basically set up for winter, for snow plowing. Hey, Lancaster and Cheektowaga are getting blasted with snow. Hamburg comes in, Eden comes in, Evans comes in, East Aurora comes in to help us.
Yeah.
When it comes to the construction season, we're all doing the same thing at the same time. So those 3 backhoes or 2 backhoes, whatever we have running, they're out doing the DI work, they're cleaning ditches, they're doing stuff that we do every day. So to do a road project like this, hey, we'd have to add some equipment to it. We would literally, these will dig 12, 15 feet, and we're digging 25, 30 feet for some of these, sewers and DIs.
But when you see it, at first
Right,
blush, when you say, well, we got it.
Yeah, come out on the job and you look down and see these guys working in a trench. I don't want to go down there. I'll tell you what, the chances of something caving in, even with the trench there, you're going to get hurt. It is a dangerous job. And our people, we can train them to do this, but it's still how we move people around these different jobs. I'd have to train every person in every laborer all the way through the whole thing, which requires a lot of money to train. This isn't cheap. We don't get it for nothing. That's why we put money in the budget for training. We're trying to do things like this, but it's going to take time. Like I was talking, if we really wanted to do that project, we'd have to add people.
No, I know, and I
we
know
don't want to do that. Yeah,
I know you can't
because that's going to blow the budget right out of the window.
I'm just curious as if we could use some of our equipment to instead of like the sewer camera for $145 an hour or a day or whatever it is.
That was something ours broke or whatever. I didn't know the gist on it, but that happens. Where you got to use somebody else's. But for a project like that, to go in there. There's multiple phases going on. You're doing storm, you're doing the sewer, you're doing the tie-ins. We're tearing out the sidewalks, we're putting curbing in. This all has to happen at one, you got one guy that's got control of the whole thing. And, you know, it's an intricate piece that you're trying to put together to keep everybody moving so there's no downtime to keep that project going.
Yeah, I
They
got
have
you.
Gantt charts we put out. A Gantt chart is, I need to have the sewer in by this time. I got to the storm in by this time. I got to have the sub base in by this time. And you follow that to a T to make sure you're on time. And it works. It's a handful of, you know, people that get together and make the job complete. And at the end, we're out there. We're the guys paving. We're the guys putting it down, making the finish, doing it nice. I mean, I got videos for you, like on Shanley Street. You know, it was a beautiful job. Everybody did their thing. Everybody worked down the line,
Nice, yeah.
and it come out great. That's what's going to happen on this street. It's going to look the same. It's going to be beautiful when they're done.
No, you don't
But
have to
it's
sell
it's
me
a
anymore.
group,
I'm voting yes.
it's a group effort, though. It doesn't happen. If we did it ourselves, it would take 1.5 to 1 3/4 times.
And I'm not
longer,
saying
because
you guys should do it
we're not
yourself.
we're not road contractors.
Right.
This is something we
No,
fill in the summer because
Just
of our plow
just
guys.
curious if we could
Yeah.
add some of our
I
equipment
would like
ease
to,
some
but
of it.
we're using it elsewhere.
I got
You know
you.
what I mean?
Okay.
And the guys that are doing it, they're out. I mean, I went out yesterday on Maple Val. You know, they were doing up a DI, pulling it into a main. The guys I went out there and watched them, and they were very professional. Look, nobody was missing. Everybody had a job, and they were doing a great job.
Oh, good.
You know,
Good.
and that's a neighborhood we got to fix up in there. We got some bad blacktop in there, so we want to mill it out, clean it up, and that's a spot for micropave.
So piggybacking off of Councilmember Filipski's question there, correct me if I'm wrong, the bid here, though, that's just a price sheet. Like, we could not even use those cameras if need be, if ours is functional
Right,
and we
yes.
use ours. That's
And
only if we need to
that
tap
comes off the
into it.
bids.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if our backhoe's available for the project, we pull it in, and if we end up needing theirs for the next 3 days to finish up or whatever it
Right,
may be,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
we just plug and
Yeah, we
play.
try to fill in the best we can with equipment.
That's
to do what we
fine.
can,
I'm
you know.
ignorant to that, so I just thought, you know, this is what we're
Right,
paying.
so the list, right.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Do you go through these lists, or does anybody consult you?
On
Like whoever's putting this bid
Description of what.
tabulation
is
together?
given us.
yes.
Do you have a conversation? Somebody comes and asks you, hey, do we have this?
I
Or-
talked with Mark Crystal, you know, and we know what we have, what we got to do. What do you got going? What kind of projects are you running? You know, they're asking the right questions. Is this equipment available? No, we got this project, this project. We got lists of DIs that we got to change in the town. We got crossovers. You guys understand that we're putting in the HDP pipe that's lasting 100 years versus the corrugated that's under the ground. And this is happening all over town. And you can't do it all at once because you're talking that $10 million thing. That's what you're hearing.
No,
now.
I know.
You know, and we don't want to do it. We want to take a piece of this every year. We need to get that piece done as we go to improve the town, you know, to make this better. But like we said, as we put this in, we don't have to go back to it. Like, we're going back to the corrugated stuff because it's a 40-year deal or a 50-year, maybe it'll last that long.
Right.
And we're into that. And that's where we get the sinkholes and the problems, you know, DIs wear out, trucks drive wrong, break up the concrete. It's part of Mother Nature taken back.
Yeah.
And if we want to keep it running, we got to take care of it.
And I just received an email. We do not have a lateral camera, the camera that's showing up on that list. That's a different camera
okay,
from
okay.
what we do have on our inventory
All right.
with sewer and that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
So just to confirm, so if there is equipment that's available from our town, we can use it?
Yes.
Okay, so then let me ask, who actually then oversees, because like, okay, got, for an example, the tractor and dump trailer, $155 an hour. So if that's not being used and we have it, who's making sure that that's taken off our bill? You know what I'm asking? Who oversees of what's being requested that's on the bid and actually being used?
Mark Crystal.
Okay.
He's putting the projects together. He's like the project manager for this project.
Okay. Thank you.
Just wanted to, okay.
Council, just to clarify, we do direct what equipment's to be used on the projects. And then we obviously monitor what is used, what manpower is used on the
All
project.
right, thanks.
The only thing I wanted to add to this is, having some of this equipment here, we may have it in-house already. Bidding these out, using our stuff as much as we can, I think is the way we should go. This also offers a little bit of flexibility in events of emergency where we have to take care of something to where we may not have enough backhoes to take care of all the work on a given day. We can rely on aspects of this to give a little bit of flexibility if necessary.
Overruns or something.
Yeah,
So
Correct.
when is this work starting? And when is it
there's going to be
anticipated completion?
following passage of these resolutions, a pre-construction meeting is going to be set up, and I can get you a better answer after the pre-construction meeting on exactly when. The goal is to have Pleasant done this year. And I'll say that the other thing I wanted to add is that there's been a lot of discussion about why we are where we are, and each of us can talk about some of those details and facts and what went where. There's two resolutions I want to draw the public's attention to: 2024-380 and 2025-215. As we're discussing all of this and figuring out what we do better for next year, those are two resolutions the public should check out and keep in mind. We have talked about this for the last few meetings, where a meeting after Labor Day to discuss capital projects for 2026 is the best way to prevent this from being an issue. I've been on the board 19 months now, getting closer to 20, and the 2024, we had some growing pains because of funding and all this. We've had some growing pains this year. We got to do something radically different because we just look at these things different. I think one of the upsides to having new board members is you have a new set of eyes on things. The other side of that coin is it takes time for us to learn how we do things in this town. So starting these projects discussions earlier will assist us in those efforts. And I've already spoken with Senator Baskin's office, and I had a chance to speak with our assembly member yesterday morning about having meetings to learn about some of the things we need to get done here in town and get their support to find some grant money to help us with those projects in the future.
I was going to say, in my personal experience, it's not a matter of learning how things operate. It's stopping things from operating the way that they have, because you're going from the last 20 years up, 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 and your debt keeps climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. That's not the answer for the next 20 years. So it's not a matter of learning how things operate here. It's about changing the way everything operates here. That's the issue.
I think it's great to change things, but you have to learn how things are working before you change them. Because if you go in and say, we just need to change it, well, how does it work? Well, I don't know. We'll just change it. Change it to what? You want to build the new within the old.
Doesn't mean, all right, let's bond for every single project. And yeah, that's great. And we're only paying, minimal costs on that, but you have a bond for the next 20 years or for the next 30 years for a project. I mean, one of the residents brought up a good point that we were bonding roads for 15 years and then paving them after 7 or 8. I mean, that's a resident that found that information, and the people in this town didn't.
Well, that would depend on the
think that was-
specific streets, because there were lists, I remember this last year, there was discussion about streets that were being paved 7 years after they were done initially, and there was honest mix-ups and mistakes on that, because you have a street, let's say George Urban, for example, that'll split streets like Eastland and some of these others that are going through where they're north and south of George Urban, where they mistake the southern part for the northern part to say, oh, it was paved in X year, and it was the other part of the street that was done. Those two sides of the street weren't done at the same time. So if we're talking specific streets, one that was done within only 7 years, let's have at it. Other examples were brought up where, yes, they were repaved less than 10 years, but Erie County had to do some sewer work or some water authority work, let's say, and then they covered cost of resurfacing there. So I know that there's examples that have been brought up, but just to say that those examples there doesn't tell the full story. There's specifics in each of these circumstances. And just like we're not batting 1,000 and we're not perfect, other folks that out there in the public, they do a great job holding us accountable and investigating. But each of us, everybody involved in this process can make a slip up like that once in a while, or not have all the information before they say something.
Right.
Thank you.
I got something to add to that.
Yeah, briefly.
you look at these projects, you see costs going up and it's costing money, but remember, the whole purpose of this was we changed, not doing the same old, like we said, it's been going on 20 years. I didn't mean it that way. The technology is changing and we're looking at it and we're trying to do a better project, something that's going to last longer, which down the road is going to keep our debt down. That we look at that too. We want to see the debt come down in our town. So we want to put something in that's going to last and do the job right. Then we look at some projects where, okay, a road's getting 7, 8 years into it. Yeah, it can be a mill and fill. I mean, there's heavy truck traffic. The garbage trucks are heavier. When these roads were put in back in the 50s, they weren't put in as thick. Trucks weren't as heavy at that time. Now we're breaking them up. Everything's happening because of heavier loads, everything. Tire pressures are higher on trucks. They're running at 120 pounds. They used to run at 80. There was more cushion. There's just so many factors in this. And that's why we looked at something new with the micropave. That's something that drags that out. We can get 5 to 7 years out of a road extra for 20% of what a paving job would be. That's how we look at it, to stretch this out so we don't have to do as much mill and fill. We're trying to keep that down so we can do these other projects that have the longevity in them. So it takes our numbers down in the future. It's not happening probably in our time here, but hopefully whoever takes over follows the same thoughts and ways to do this properly. That's how we look at it.
Thanks. And I hear where you're coming from, Councilman, and I think there's something good about having a fresh set of eyes on everything and looking at it from the sense of how can we do this differently? How can we do this more efficiently? How can we do this better? And that's something I do bring to this job, and I think everybody should, and I'm glad that you do as well. Anyone else on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries.
That is the end of our resolution items today.
Okay, with that, I'd like to make a motion to, actually, just a moment. We do actually have members from the public. Typically, we do these meetings and we don't have folks from the general public here. Would either of you like to speak? We can extend an opportunity. If the board, I make a motion to allow for public comment. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in
Thank you.
favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Good morning.
I'm not a public speaker. Good morning. Thank you for walking down our street yesterday. You stopped right in front of my house with that cracked up road. It's embarrassing to live there. I want to thank you for your votes. We need help. It's embarrassing. We have one tree. We have phone poles that were replaced, the telephone poles. Old ones weren't cut down. It looks ridiculous. Wires stretching every which way that no one is using anymore. Cracks that people fall into. A neighbor broke the axle on his brand new truck, driving down his own street going home. It's not meant to be this way. I appreciate that you're trying to fix this. But we have no idea in the general public what is happening. We hear nothing unless we talk to you one-to-one. You promised me trees. You swore they'd be coming. We need this. We've lived there for 35, almost 40 years. It's never been like this. It's been a close-knit neighborhood. You don't even see the neighbors outside anymore. We need help, and we thank you for taking care of this for us. Thank you.
With that, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Filipski. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.